a whispered truth, echoing from the deepest recesses of our existence, speaks of a power so fundamental we ignore it every second. It's not a futuristic technology or a secret whispered in hermetic circles, but something that has been with us since our very first moment of life, our breath. I stumbled upon an enigmatic manuscript, not written in ink, but etched into the very experience of ancient masters, a knowledge about breath and manifestation, a method that promises to create realities in minutes. Its truths were kept accessible only to the initiated, to those who dared to look at the most obvious and find the most profound. But why has this knowledge, so intrinsic to our nature, been so carefully hidden in plain sight? What does it reveal about the nature of our existence and the power that resides in every inhalation and exhalation? Throughout the centuries, this profound understanding of the power of breath and its ability to shape reality has been meticulously veiled and protected. From the immemorial times of yoga and Hinduism, where the ancient rishis codified the science of pranayama, they understood that prana, the vital energy, the breath of life, was not just air, but the cosmic force that sustains the universe. Through controlled breathing techniques, yogis learned to manipulate this energy to calm the mind, awaken consciousness, and ultimately, manifest higher states of being. This knowledge was transmitted from master to disciple in ashrams and sacred caves, protecting it from superficiality and trivialization. They knew this was the key to true alchemy, the transmutation of the physical self into a spiritual being. Later, in the traditions of Taoism and Qigong in ancient China, masters developed practices that used breath to cultivate qi, the vital energy, directing it for health, longevity, and the manifestation of intentions. Breath was seen as the link between heaven and earth, between the microcosm of the body and the macrocosm of the universe. For millennia, this knowledge, which today manifests in the modern science of breath and manifestation, remained in the hands of spiritual elites, not out of selfishness, but to prevent its distortion or misuse by minds not yet ready for the responsibility it carries. Welcome to the fascinating and mysterious world of breath and manifestation. How to create realities in minutes. Now, ask yourself, if the power to create our reality in minutes is literally in the air we breathe, why do we continue to live under the illusion of a world where manifestation is a slow, difficult process that requires titanic effort? The core of the secret lies in a premise that, at first glance, may seem simple, but whose depth transforms the perception of everything. Breath is the bridge between our conscious mind and our subconscious energy field. Where manifestation truly happens, it's not about merely wishing for something, but about using breath as a tool to carry the emotion and intention of your desire into the realm of energy, where the laws of quantum physics operate. Breath and manifestation teaches us that by controlling the rhythm and depth of our breathing, we can instantly alter our state of being, change our brainwaves, harmonize heart coherence, and thus emit a new electromagnetic signature to the universe. Imagine for a moment that your conscious mind is like a gardener, and your subconscious is the fertile soil of the garden. If the gardener only thinks about planting a seed but doesn't actually plant it in the soil, nothing will grow. The breath is the act of planting the seed, of taking the intention from the mind to the fertile ground of the subconscious, where it can germinate and grow. The speed of the process, the manifestation in minutes, comes from the breath's ability to create instantaneous coherence between the heart and the brain. When your heart and brain are in coherence, your heart's magnetic field expands and becomes 1,000 times more powerful than your brain's magnetic field, sending a clear and strong signal to the universe about your new reality. But are we prepared to understand this truth in its entirety, or do we still cling to the belief that we are prisoners of our superficial thoughts? The depth of the teachings on breath and manifestation transcends a simple meditation practice. It delves into neuroscience and quantum physics, showing how slow, deep breathing can change brainwaves from a state of stress, beta waves, to a state of creativity and relaxation, alpha and theta waves. It is in this state, on the border between the conscious and the unconscious, that we have direct access to the subconscious programs that dictate our reality. What we call manifestation is the result of our ability to emit a clear signal of a new reality into the quantum field, the ocean of all possibilities. Our fears, traumas, and limiting beliefs are, in fact, well-established neural circuits in our brain that create an electromagnetic signature that perpetuates the reality we do not want. The breath is a circuit breaker that shatters these circuits and allows a new signal to be emitted. The challenge lies in deprogramming these old programs and using the breath to install new ones. Most people live in a vicious cycle of shallow, short breathing, which keeps the body and mind in a state of fight or flight, perpetuating the past. The secret then is to use the breath as a tool to change this state of being in an instant. Visualize yourself before an ancient temple, not one of stone and mortar, but the temple of your own body, where the altar is your heart and the incense is your breath. Within it, instead of idols, are the infinite possibilities of your future, each vibrating at a different frequency. Breath and manifestation is the ability to use the incense of your breath to tune into the exact frequency of the reality you desire. The technique is simple and powerful. Begin with a clear intention. Then, breathe deeply and evenly through your nose, expanding your abdomen and chest, filling your body with prana during this inhalation. Imagine for a moment that you are pulling into yourself the energy and reality of your intention. On the exhalation, imagine you are releasing all fear, all doubt, and all resistance that is preventing you from manifesting. Like a mirror that reveals what we avoid seeing, our present reality is a direct reflection of the energetic state that our breath sustains. This conception is intrinsically connected to various spiritual and philosophical traditions. In shamanism, for example, breath was used in trance rituals to travel between worlds and access information from the Great Spirit, the unified field. The breath of life was seen as the very essence of divinity. In alchemy, breath was the tool. For the inner work, the process of transmuting the lead of the ego into the gold of enlightened consciousness. Controlled breathing was the fire that accelerated this transmutation. Similarly, in Hermetic texts, the idea of pneuma, divine breath, was the vital force that permeated the universe and, in humans, was the vehicle for the spirit to act upon matter. Psalm 33:6, in turn, states, "By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, and all their hosts by the breath of his mouth." This perfectly echoes the view that breath is not just a biological process, but an act of divine co-creation. Does this teach us about the inner universe we carry? The practical application of this wisdom in the modern world is profoundly transformative. This isn't about a simple change of thought, but a deep re-engineering of the self that allows us to change frequency and, thus, reality. This involves a process of detaching from the narrative that manifestation is difficult and slow. The breath, in its rhythm, teaches us fluidity and interconnectedness. The key is coherence between the heart and the brain. The breath is the fastest way to create this coherence, because when your breathing becomes slow and deep, it activates the vagus nerve, which calms the nervous system and sends signals to the heart. The heart then sends signals back to the brain, creating a positive feedback loop that synchronizes the two. Think of it like a conductor who, with the baton of breath, synchronizes the orchestra of your being. The brain is the instruments, and the heart is the emotion, the feeling of the music. Without the baton, the instruments can play in dissonance. With the breath, the conductor creates a harmonious symphony of coherence, and this symphony is the signal the universe receives and matches. Resistance comes from the fear of letting go of control, of believing that manifestation must be a struggle. The breath is the act of surrender, of yielding to the flow of creation, like a flame that never goes out, even in the darkness of the unconscious. The power of your breath is always active, waiting to be directed toward a new frequency. Another crucial aspect of breath and manifestation is the importance of feeling the emotion of your desire as if it were already real while you breathe. Emotion is the electrical charge that amplifies the signal of your thought. If you only think about what you want but continue to feel lack, fear, or scarcity, your breath and your body continue to emit the frequency of scarcity. The breath is the tool that allows you to change that emotion in minutes. With each inhalation, you fill yourself with the gratitude, joy, and fullness of your new reality. With each exhalation, you release the old emotion. This continuous practice, even for just a few minutes a day, creates new neural circuits and a new energetic signature. Picture this. You are on a dark stage, and in front of you, a spotlight illuminates the ideal version of your future. This future is not a distant place. It is a vibrational frequency, a possibility that already exists in the quantum field. Your breath is the key that turns on the spotlight and directs it to that possibility. By focusing your attention and intention, and by using your breath to feel the emotion associated with that future, you are not just hoping for it, you are magnetizing it into your experience, like a powerful magnet. This is why, with the right technique, manifestation can be almost instantaneous. That this makes us reflect on how modern science is beginning to converge with ancient esoteric wisdom. Neurocardiology, for example, studies the complex interaction between the brain and the heart, showing that the heart, with its own little brain composed of neurons, plays a crucial role in perception and cognition. Heart coherence, achieved through breathing, not only calms the mind but also improves intuition and decision-making ability. The concept of biological morphism proposes that the body is shaped by emotions and intentions, and breath is the mechanism that makes this possible. Breath is the vehicle that transports your intention to the cellular level. But how exactly does all this connect to a method that creates realities in minutes? The acceleration comes from the ability to skip steps, not having to travel the linear path of thought-feeling action that takes weeks or months. Instead, you go directly to the point of power, the coherent state of being, where the heart and mind are synchronized in the emotion of your new reality. Breath is the fastest and most effective tool to enter this state. The effort required, in this context, is not a struggle against circumstances, but an effort of presence and control of your breath to maintain the vibration of your future in the present, regardless of external evidence. The power is in you. The breath is your switch. The true mastery of breath and manifestation lies in living from the frequency of your new reality. When you become the person who already lives this new reality, the actions that arise are inspired, not forced. Opportunities materialize, the right people appear, doors open with surprising ease. It's as if the universe is conspiring in your favor, because you have become a perfect vibrational match for what you desire to experience. Transformation accelerates because you are already operating from the end of the process. To recap the concepts we've explored, breath is the bridge between the conscious and the subconscious, and the fastest tool to create coherence between the heart and the brain. By controlling your breath and using it to feel the emotion of your desire in the present, you emit a new electromagnetic signal to the universe, manifesting realities at an accelerated pace. This view, which intertwines with the ancient wisdom of yoga and Taoism, is validated by discoveries in neuroscience and quantum physics, which suggests that our consciousness shapes reality. Connecting all these dots reveals a transformative vision. We are not passive observers of life, but active, co-creators of our own existence, with the power to use our own breath to manifest profound and rapid changes. This knowledge can drastically alter the perception of reality and the self, for it grants us the power to transcend linear time and manifest what we desire with surprising simplicity. Imagine a seed that, instead of waiting months to germinate, begins to blossom in minutes, because your breath is the sun, the water, and the earth that nourish it. This is the metaphor of breath and manifestation. Most people wait. The breath practitioner acts from inner power. The awakening to this truth is the breaking of the chains that bind us to the how and the when, and the acceptance of what already is. With each conscious breath, each moment you choose to feel the emotion of your new reality, you are activating that parallel timeline. It's a process of becoming intimate with your own power, of moving from a state of effort to a state of flow and acceleration. This is the true alchemy of the self, the transmutation of the self that waits into the self that manifests. The seeker's journey is like an ancient scroll that unfolds with each discovery, revealing deeper layers of wisdom and power. Every revelation is a candle lit in the temple of the mind, illuminating the dark corners of ignorance and fear. The secret of breath and manifestation is not an empty promise of ease, but an invitation to a profound journey of self-discovery and self-transformation. It is a path that demands discipline, intentionality, and, above all, the courage to transcend the limits imposed by the rational mind and past conditioning. It is the art of living from the reality you wish to manifest, anchored in the present, feeling the fullness and reality of that future as if it were tangible. It's not about denying the current reality, but about becoming so coherent with the new reality that the old one simply loses its resonance and dissolves. Life then becomes a fluid dance of accelerated co-creation, where synchronicities multiply and effort gives way to inspiration, joy, and instantaneous manifestation. Thank you for your curiosity and courage to explore these untrodden paths, for delving into the depths of consciousness and questioning the premises of your reality. The journey is continuous, and every step, every conscious breath, every elevated intention brings you closer to self-mastery and the ability to accelerate your own manifestation. Are you ready to take the next step and use your breath to create your future? Remember, every end is just the beginning of a new journey of consciousness.